Hey listeners, if you like the show, please give us your support by going on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to podcasts and leaving a 5-star written review. We really, really appreciate it. Also go to breakitdownshow.com and leave comments so we know what you like or how we can make the show better. And buy stuff on our Amazon and eBay links from our homepage. Prices and everything else are exactly the same, but if you get to Amazon or eBay through our links, they give us a little commission. Now for the show.
Hey, guess what? Everybody, go listen to the Break It Down show.
We've become enamored of Teena Kemp in the short time we've known her. Teena was a pop star in the 90s, but before that, she sharpened her chops working in the tutelage of Bay Area music luminaries like Rosie Gaines and Bobby McFerrin. She was born and grew up in Livermore, California, studied at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music, and cut her teeth at joints like Yoshi's and Mr. E's, singing with the best of them. Souring of the business side of being a pop star, she stepped away from music for a while to raise a son, but now she's back, beautiful as ever. She's multimedia, and she is funky. She's writing and co-producing her own stuff, and we can't wait to see and hear the finished product. Teena sat down with us at Mindseed Soundstage, along with Dwayne Wiggins, to give us a preview, tell us about her journey, and eat some Caligan. Look that up. She is my soul sister, and I am a big fan. And proud to say, here is part 1 of our conversation with Teena Kemp on the Break It Down show.
We are at Mindseed Soundstage, and I am eating Caligan with Teena Kemp.
Yes, you are.
So good. And we're drinking wine.
Sending this out to Daryl Carbolito right now because I want him to know.
Here's
Daryl's
the
my
sound of beef Caligan.
That's right. He's my cousin. You met him. We brought him here. He's an amazing engineer. I mean, anything that I ever engineered, I would get something, we would mix. This was our process. I would have it to where I loved it. I loved the mix. I would spend time with it. I would go down each channel. I would do my thing. And then when I was done, I would get up and I would go walk out of the control room and I would say, Daryl, go ahead. And he'd sit down and I'd leave him alone in there for about 5 minutes and I'd come back and put the headphones on and I'd go, Jesus Christ, what did you do to this mix? This is amazing. And, you know, he just has that meticulous ear. But the other thing that he has is an appreciation for the music of our generation. So last week we were here. We came in and met everybody, and he was just kind of tagging along to engineer our podcast with Corey Jacobs. And so you guys met outside in the other studio. And then we walked in here, and I said, you know, Daryl, that was Teena Kemp. And he said, what? And I had to grab him. I was like, oh, no, go back in there. Come here. So he was in a band back then called Z-Look. And they were kind of an obscure band, but a lot of people in the know will go, what? I remember Z-Look. They were from Riverside.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they were Daryl's musical co-conspirator in that band was a guy named Mike Carpenter, who is, I believe nowadays he's in Houston. Still producing, you know, but the music of that era, they were kind of steeped in. So I can't get anything past Daryl as far as anything between 85 and like 99. Any musical reference that I make, he's right there. And yeah,
He knows all about it.
When I said that was Teena Kemp, oh, he went crazy. I was like, yeah. You know, I mean, when you said, hey, I got songs, he was like, yeah, let's listen to them in my car, because that was the only place we had a CD player.
It's always good to listen to it in the car, though.
That's
yeah.
That's when you test your mix and when you make sure it's right, you have to listen to it in the car.
That's the final destination.
It is.
Yep.
I'm going to have my beef Caligan on the plate, too.
Dude, do it.
So good.
I'm going to.
It's been so long.
Yeah, I did okay.
You did fantastic.
All right.
So we were at Christy Michelini's studio. She's an interior designer in Danville, and with all her ladies there. And they're all, you know, they're designers, so they look great. They're fashionable and stuff. And we said that we were going to go interview you. And 2 of them picked their heads up, and they're like, wait, we know that name. And so we had them do the YouTube search and everything. And, of course, your songs came up. I did a couple of my dance moves that I lifted from you.
Do them right now.
Yeah,
do them right now.
Hold on one sec. I'm going to stand up.
Okay. Let's see it.
Oops.
This is Pete.
Here we go.
There's this one.
Oh.
Then I have to go like this.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Those are my moves.
This is the one you got it back.
Oh, I'm going to go from the stap into that.
Excellent.
Stab Kemp, I'm going to call that.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
I dig it.
So when I met John, I asked him, what's your nationality?
I get that all the time.
And he says, oh, I'm from Guam. So, oh, you're Chamorro. And your eyes immediately
I lost my mind.
got huge. Like, oh my gosh, she knows what a Chamorro is.
Yeah.
Like enunciated it properly and said it with the proper physical punctuation. I really do appreciate that because there aren't many of us.
There aren't many.
There really aren't many
Well,
of
it's
us.
a very small island
Mm-hmm.
and a very small population.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we are funky.
Very funky.
Now, the thing about Guam, and you know this better than anybody else, is there's so much live music there.
There's so much live music and so many great musicians.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there. And then,
And such a mixture of people, too. It's a real melting pot of different cultures.
mm-hmm.
I learned a lot when I was living there.
So when you were living there, you were singing.
I was.
And the thing about Guam is that it is a tourist destination. And a lot of people don't recognize it for that because it's so far from the mainland.
Well,
that-
it's more of a Japanese tourist.
It is. It's Japanese.
Because it's very close to Japan.
Right.
There's a lot of shopping there.
The affluence that comes from Japan or Korea or now Russia. There's a lot of Russians on
really?
Guam now, yeah, who come there to vacation. And I liken it to Waikiki like 40 years ago, where the beaches are still pristine. Everything isn't trampled yet, but there is still, all the trappings are there.
Yeah.
So if you want to go there and enjoy a resort weekend.
It does have a little feeling of like, the Hawaiian Islands in the 50s.
Yeah.
It does have that, like a little bit of that kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm. And we are a devil may care sort of culture. So
you guys just love a party.
We do love a
I
party.
gained so much weight when I was living there.
Oh, that's
Just
good.
from the
And that's
Yeah,
with you. You're
that's
singing and dancing,
awesome.
performing every night and still gaining weight. I mean, that's how much of a party it is.
Yeah. But we cannot resist a
every
party.
single weekend there was a barbecue somewhere. And then you have to take at least 2 plates of food
Home with you. Sure.
you. And then people, there's like a tradition in Guam where people will bring you food. If you're their friend, they will come by, they will bring you lunch, they will bring you food. People are always trying to feed you in Guam. It's always on Guam, not in Guam.
Yeah, no, you are on
You're
Guam.
on Guam.
That's right.
You're not in Guam.
Just knowing that right there is that's a sign that you've been to an island. Because when you're on an island, especially one that small, you
You're
are not
either
in
on
there, you are
island
on it.
Or
you are off
especially
island.
that small. Yeah.
Yep. The
You swim out far enough, you're off island.
yeah. So we're not afraid to stuff people.
Oh no. But I love that tradition. I always loved the plates of food at the end of the party, especially if you're a single person at the time, I'm living there by myself and,
Right. Those plates of food come in handy.
really handy. It makes you feel very cared for. It's a very strong community there.
I've never been to Guam, but I know places like that. And even though you live by yourself, you're never alone. You don't have to be.
Ever.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. But the beef Kelaguen was my favorite.
Yeah,
dish.
that's a hell of a pull because
It's a
everybody
really
loves
good-
chicken Kelaguen, but to go for beef, that's like a
Chicken Kelaguen is also really good. I just happen to I enjoy my beef. I
yeah.
have to say.
When you said that, I was like, "Whoa, that's going for it. That's robust." Anyway,
It's a salad, y'all. It's a beef. Well, they make Kelaguen. They have all different kinds of Kelaguen, even including fruit bat. I've
yeah,
even
you
had
can
fruit
do.
bat Kelaguen.
Have you really?
I have.
You got me beat. I have not.
I've had a few things.
That's awesome, right there.
That's hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tara Kemp is officially more Chamorro than I am. I had an interesting thing happen to me. Last time I was there was 2008. I was there. My grandfather had passed away, and I was there with my dad. And my dad and I are very close.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just spending some time there with my dad, my Uncle George, who's my dad's cousin. And, they were just kind of talking about when they were growing up because I grew up here in the Bay Area. And I left there when I was 5.
Okay.
So I didn't get to know or see a lot of the things that my dad had, when I was growing up, that was
Right.
sort of taken out of the equation for a lot of things. And that was an opportunity that I had to,
Whoops.
oh, That's security. Just see and experience some of the things that, made my dad tick as he was growing up. And we went out. I'd always heard about these legendary parties that they would throw as teenagers. They always had, the parties that the girls came to. And it's not, you'll meet my dad and you won't be surprised. He's a really nice guy, but he's also very charismatic. So he and my Uncle George were telling me about how they would have these parties and there would just be fish. Tons of fish. And my Uncle George, that's my dad's cousin, but my Uncle George, his dad, he would see the boys fishing and come down the hill because we lived right above the beach. He'd come down the hill and he'd see the big kettle of fish and he'd go, all right, you take that to your mom and you take that to your mom. And he would sort of tell the boys, go do that first. And then this is what's left for your party. So the boys would go fishing on Saturdays and they would always provide fish. Everybody had fish in the refrigerator, but then they'd come back and whatever was left over in the bounty would be for that barbecue that they would throw and all the girls would come. And
ain't nobody missing a meal in Guam.
It's true.
On Guam.
Nobody on Guam is going hungry.
No, nobody's going hungry there.
And that was, and I was saying, he never passed on those fishing skills to me because I don't know how to bait a hook. I'm clueless about fishing at all. And so I always wondered, how come I'm clueless about fishing? My dad had all these fish. Well, when we were there on the beach, he was telling me about how they would fish. And my Uncle George had this net. It was like a volleyball net. It was 100 feet long. And they would take 5 of them and each one, would get 15 feet from the next or whatever. And they would just walk from the natural reef at Epau Beach. And it's like a half a mile. And they would just walk with this net. And by the time they got to the shore, I don't know if it's a half a mile. It's out there far, though. But you can walk until you can't see somebody anymore and still be in waist-high water because of the natural reef that's right there. They would go all the way out there. They would spread this net out, and then they would just walk to the beach. And they'd have 50 fish.
Wow.
So my dad doesn't know how to fish. He knows how to harvest fish.
He knows how to walk with a net in his hands.
Yeah. So that was sort of...
well, that was eye-opening.
That kind of took the wind out of the sails. I thought my dad was an awesome fisherman. Turns out he's just an awesome net walker. But that wasn't the point of the thing. The point of the thing was, hey, we got 50 fish and we're having a barbecue. Come over, ladies.
Yeah.
So.
And when the guys come from Tonga, oh man, rowing for 1,000 miles. They get there. You guys are like, hey, look, someone's coming to a party. Yeah. And when they get there, they're like, we're really tired and thirsty and hungry. And you guys are like, we have fish.
And food, and coconuts. Come on board.
There's no reason to fight. Let's just have a party. Have you seen the girls?
But people out here don't understand what a barbecue on Guam is like. Because I'm talking about maybe 3 large tables all in a row, lined up, at least 3.
Well, you never know who's coming over.
Full of food, buffet style. And loads of people.
Never know who's coming.
Everybody is invited.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah. And bring friends.
And yes, bring everybody.
That's just how it is. So I get a kick out of island cultures that have you see T-shirts with warriors on them and celebrating the warrior culture. And we have them too. But we don't have a warrior culture. We have a party culture.
Totally.
We don't know anything about that because we were never hungry. It's never cold there, so I have cousins who don't have a jacket. They don't own a jacket. So we were never
all
cold.
The time, but you never, nobody ever uses an umbrella or a raincoat or anything there. You just...
Yeah, you're not going to catch a cold.
Well, no, you're going to dry off immediately anyway.
Yeah. So we were never hungry. We were never cold. We always had food. Everything was plentiful. Let's face it. We didn't know how to fight. Magellan showed up and he took over the place because we didn't know how to fight. We knew how to barbecue. Right. We could tell jokes for a motherfucker, too.
That's right.
We could tell jokes. We could play music. We could barbecue.
Y'all can tell some really good jokes.
That's what
I heard some really good jokes when I was on Guam.
There you go. But now, on the Break It Down show, let's talk about Teena Kemp.
Okay.
I appreciate that, though. That was great. That just makes my heart warm and full. How about you? Man. It was such an amazing piece of serendipity meeting you when we met you here the first time. When we heard that you're back at it and you're singing. The big question is, what you been doing?
Wait, I was on Guam for a while.
There is that. I mean, you were still singing, making a living singing.
I was. I went away for a while. I had a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I have a 13-year-old son.
All right.
I'm a single mom. And I'm very involved with him.
Yeah.
But I have continued to be creative. I was a bit unimpressed with the music business, let's say, just because they made it not fun.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it was like, it's about having fun.
Yeah.
And doing what you're passionate about doing. And they made it not fun anymore.
Wow.
So I was a bit disgruntled about that. And that's when I went and left and disappeared for a while.
Yeah.
Went to Guam. I traveled around Asia.
That would have blown my mind.
Quite a bit.
Because I didn't know at the time. And actually, I don't know when you were there, but I was there around, just on vacation in 92. And if you tell me that you were there in 92.
I wasn't there in 92.
God,
I was still.
I would have lost my mind if I would have seen you. Like, oh my God, that's
You've been at
terrible.
the
I was
same
still
parties.
working the music business at that time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
You were still actually active in the music business well into the mid 90s. We're talking about late 90s by the time
Yeah,
you were.
we released an independent record called Come Correct.
Uh-huh. What year was Come Correct?
94, is that
This is
right?
94.
94.
Boom.
Mhm. Good job.
Yeah.
Pete. So 94, that was with my producers. And it was, we asked to be released from the label because we wanted to move to Atlantic Records.
Oh.
Which was part, I was on like 5 different labels at one time. We can get into the whole thing about how I was signed and all that stuff, but
I would like to get into that actually because that's a kind of neat story.
We
but
can get into that,
we'll
but
go back.
but so I was on several labels at the same time, and Giant Records just really didn't get me they didn't really understand that I was a musician, that I was really an artist. They wanted to like kind of.
Who headed up Giant Records?
Irving Azoff.
Okay. Now, the thing is, Irving Azoff is, there isn't a more veteran presence that you can have.
No, there isn't. He's amazing.
But Giant Records folded up, did they not?
Yeah, right after I left.
Well, see? That's what happens.
They should have kept me around.
Yeah, that's what you get, Giant Records. Who else was on that label with you?
Color Me Bad.
Uh-huh.
Jade.
Did you guys tour together? Did they package you guys up as?
We did tour together. We did the Club MTV tour together.
Oh yeah.
And with Gerardo and.
All right.
CNC Music Factory.
He's like an A&R guy at Interscope or something nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last I heard, I don't know if he's.
And
still
I
there or
don't
not.
know who that last I heard too. I don't know who it is. He's good at it.
He's legit, yeah.
Yeah, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
He was a businessman then.
Well,
Let me tell you, he was very smart.
yeah.
Kind of like,
Super smart
He
guy.
knew when to take his shirt off too.
it's like Pebbles.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing where she's like, I can make money doing this other stuff too. You
Yeah.
know.
But he was the kind of guy that, he'd buy B-52s for everybody in the club but not drink. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
yeah. It was
Wow.
really cool. And then also, of course, Tony, and Belle Biv DeVoe were on that tour as well.
Okay. Yes. That's terrific. That sounds like fun.
It was ridiculous fun.
Now, you and Dwayne go way, way back.
We
though,
go
don't you?
way back. Yeah, we do.
Huh.
So back to the days we met when I was working with Rosie Gaines.
Let's rewind all the way back because you are a Bay Area native. Is
I
that
am.
right?
Yeah.
You're born in Livermore.
Born and raised in Livermore.
Yeah.
hmm
Okay.
Started studying at American Conservatory Theater when I was 9 years old.
Uh-huh.
So I started coming over to the city quite early.
Now, Livermore, for our listeners elsewhere, is not exactly close to San Francisco, certainly in the Bay Area, but I mean sort of in the outer reaches of the
It's
suburbs.
East Bay.
Yeah.
It's considered East Bay. It's about 45 miles southeast of San Francisco.
Right. Famous people from Livermore. Let's see. Brandon Crawford.
Randy
I'm a Giants
Johnson.
fan. Randy Johnson.
That's
Yeah.
a big one.
Yeah. Anyway, please continue. So you grew up in Livermore. You went to the conservatory since you were 9.
When I was 9, yeah.
And you were an actress.
I did. I studied acting. I started studying piano when I was 4.
Wow.
I started studying harp when I was 9 as well.
Okay.
You can play the harp.
I play harp.
No kidding.
That might be the one instrument that does not exist in Mindseed Soundstage. Man.
Yeah, they don't have a harp. I should bring one of mine over.
You still play the harp?
I do.
All right.
That's neat. I like the harp.
Yeah.
The harp is an awesome. It's difficult to play, but it's an awesome instrument because it's tuned to the key. The reason why every note sounds beautiful on the harp is because you
every
can't
note
play,
belongs to it.
It belongs to that key.
Yeah.
So you can't play
Can't
a wrong
play a bad
note.
note,
Yeah,
right.
you can't.
So it's like a harmonica, sort of. Like you
kinda
have to
awesome
have
in that way.
a bunch of harps on
Yeah.
your kit.
Somebody
You're like-
can't
Yeah.
say, "Hey, play Inagata Davida." You're like, "Yeah, I'm in B flat."
Oh,
over
so I
here."
got to retune the harp.
Or it can be
Sorry.
like
unless
John
you have
Popper.
a pedal harp.
Oh, right. Yeah, there you go. You can be like John Popper and have like 27 harps with you, though, too. You know,
Right.
just get in the right
Okay,
key.
so how nerdy am I? I play.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't follow. I love the harp. I think it's beautiful.
That's a really cool instrument. I have some ideas of some stuff I want to record with it.
You should hook it up to
Which-
a wah-wah pedal.
I want to do some bossa nova stuff and do the harp, like kind of like the rhythm guitar. The
Let's
bossa
go.
nova,
I
right?
love the
Wouldn't that
bossa
be
nova.
cool?
Man.
So, yeah, that's a project on the back burner right now, but it'll come. It'll happen
I love
one
it.
time.
That's great.
So yeah, so that's where I grew up, and then, excuse me, moved to San Francisco when I was 18, and promptly moved back to the Bay Area shortly after that to go to Cal State Hayward. I did the summer stock there.
You guys are alumni.
Pioneers.
So I did. I moved to San Francisco. I did the adult conservatory at ACT.
Uh-huh.
And then I left. I went back to the East Bay, lived in Hayward for a while, did the summer stock there. And then I moved to Berkeley. And that's when I met Rosie. I was 20 years old. I'd just gotten into a top 40 band. And I had done one gig with them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was up in Clear Lake or something. It was a little tired. And then I got an audition with Rosie.
Wow.
And that was genius.
For our
'Cause-
listeners who are unfamiliar with Rosie Gaines, look her up.
Yeah, please look her up.
She is amazing.
She's ridiculous.
Anything that you find with her on it, you will be blown away.
She was probably the most influential person for me musically.
That's
speaking.
terrific. That's a great influence. I mean, and it's great for you
Huge.
because one of the things that remains about you, and I can't compare you to your peers at the time, your contemporaries in the early to mid 90s, because they're not sitting in front of us here, but you had the pipes to learn from Rosie Gaines, and she had just amazing phrasing. I mean, she's just terrific.
She's incredible. So what my background was, I was a complete theater musician nerd.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I was the one that was like, I was in a cappella, I was in madrigals, I was in theater. I mean, I did everything in theater. I did crew, I was assistant director, I did lighting, I did set design, I performed, I was a real nerd.
She's not playing, y'all. She can build a set. What do you want? She'll swing a hammer.
You can see her hands
can.
going crazy. She's talking about it. Yeah.
So, but I studied classical music and I loved pop music and I could sing, I could emulate people.
Oh, okay.
I could emulate really well. But my training was very, regimented and, so there wasn't any ad-libbing. I learned how to read music when I was 4.
Right.
So I don't play.
And it was on the paper, and you knew how to execute it.
I could read music before I could read.
Right.
So
Wow.
yeah, because they had one of those cardboard things up on the back of the piano keys.
Yeah,
the little cardboard thing
Right.
that
The
shows
thing to
what the
overlay
notes look like.
on the
You know how kids
that
do
sat
those
on the
matching
keyboard?
games on the computer now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, my brother was taking piano. I was only 4. I wasn't really old enough to start playing piano. But the little card was there and the little sheet music was there. So it was a matching game.
Right.
You're making it sound easy. When I was 4,
It was so easy.
I was rubbing macaroni and cheese on my face.
He still rubs macaroni and cheese on
Seriously,
his
though,
face.
when my son was 4, he was playing those matching games on the computer.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, all
And
kids
that's
play
just-
that. So it was just
That was
a
the
matching
playing
game.
field
So
you got to
that's-
know.
That was my matching game. That was my computer. The piano was my computer when I was a kid. So that's what I played on, and that's how I learned how to read music.
Yeah.
From a very early age. So the drawback was that, I was very
Matchy. Your
matchy-matchy.
improvising skills weren't quite as...
You get thrown into, now I'm singing with Rosie. So I got the gig great. She said, okay, sing this, and I could copy anything she did, right?
That's a good foundation.
I could copy anything she did, but you got to understand. So I'm 20 years old, just shy of my 21st birthday, and working with the best musicians in town. Rosie had the best band. We're talking Levi Caesar.
Yep.
Right? Curtis Olson was on bass. We had, let's see, who else was in that band at that time? We had a lot of great players in the band. Billy Johnson, I think, was playing drums.
Holy shit.
So for somebody to get their first gig.
That is your first
and
gig.
that's my first gig, and I don't know shit.
And
I
it's
know
you
nothing.
And Rosie and Levi and Shoes.
So
and,
I get
oh my God.
my first gig was at the old Yoshi's. Okay, our very first gig.
Right.
It was my 21st birthday.
Wow.
It was my first gig with Rosie.
There you are.
In the band. And we're upstairs. The old Yoshi's.
Ooh, I remember that.
Okay. And so we go through the gig, and it's all good. I'm the only background singer, right? Ain't no strain on my brain. And then she does all these, she does crazy stuff. Rosie, if you're not familiar with Rosie, she can sound like a trumpet, and then she's got harmony parts. So it's like I had to learn how to do all the little scatting stuff that she does in harmony.
Right.
With her. So I had it all down, and I was feeling myself. I'm like, yeah, I got this gig.
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Here I am. I'm doing it. I'm living the dream. Okay. And then it's the end of the night, and she goes around and she introduces the band, and everybody takes a solo. I'm like, oh shit.
Here it comes.
Had no idea, right? That this is the way it goes, right? No, what? What is ad-libbing? What is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't writing at that time. I didn't know anything like that, okay? So she goes through, she introduces everybody, does their kick-ass solos. The crowd's going wild, and then I'm the last, and Tara Kemp.
And she saved you for last.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I sing the chorus a couple times. I don't know how to ad-lib. I don't know anything about ad-libbing. We get downstairs I'm like, don't ever do that to me again. Please don't ever do that to me again.
She said, we're playing here next weekend. I'm going to do it to you.
And she said, no, here's what we're going to do. She said, we're going to trade fours, and you're going to learn how to ad-lib.
All right.
So that's how so if you don't know, if you're not a musician,
God.
you don't know what that means. So trading fours is you do 4 bars. One person does 4 bars, and then the other person does 4 bars based on what you did. So you're just kind of reflecting back. You can either copy it. So she gave me she gave me an out, so I could either copy what she did, or but she wanted me to embellish on it, and that's how she got me going.
You could copy it a couple times and then just use that as sort of your launching point.
Start to embellish. So that's how she taught me how to ad-lib, and I was able to take some lessons with Bobby McFerrin at that time, who also helped me.
Say what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so this was before he blew up with Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Yeah. When he was just a singer, Bobby McFerrin.
Yeah, he was
just a singer, right?
No, he was a big deal here.
Oh,
still,
absolutely. I mean, he's awesome.
Before he was big to the world, he was still big here.
Yeah.
And I was a big fan of his, and I was fortunate that I was able to take some lessons with him. But he also, that's what he taught me was ad-libbing, because I had all the technique and everything was cool. I had all that stuff down, but I didn't know anything about ad-libbing.
Hold on, I just want to take an aside. Tara learned how to ad-lib from Rosie Gaines and Bobby McFerrin.
I did.
Okay.
I want to slap my mama.
Let's move on.
Yeah, it's like, but that's what this is the coolest thing about, you were mentioning the party machine.
With Nia Peoples.
We did. We
Nia
talked about
Peoples.
the party machine with Nia Peoples.
We were talking about that.
Big fans. We're big fans.
And, one of the questions she asked me was about the Bay Area. And that was one of the things that I cringe about that interview, because what I didn't say about the Bay Area, what's really cool about coming out of this music scene is that the established, experienced musicians really do take the younger, passionate musicians under their wing and teach them.
That's true.
And that's one of the things that's so cool about what's happening here at Mindseed with Dwayne and Youth Aid in helping to develop these young kids and giving back to that community that taught me so much.
Right.
You know, it's like part of the Bay Area tradition. It's what we do.
You know, we had James Early on the show, and a lot of our guests are like, "Oh, the first time I was in the studio was with James Early."
A lot of our
Right.
guests
a
say
lot
that.
of them. E40 can say that.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
My very
Yeah.
first studio experience was with James. And then when we came here and we met Dwayne and we said, yeah, our first episode was James Early. And he was like, oh, man, because they go back too.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's funny that you call it giving back because everybody sees it as that. I mean, externally, but internally, it's not something that you consciously do. I mean, that is true about Bay Area music. You don't give back. You just do it. I mean, it's part of the fabric.
It is.
Everybody
It's-
benefited from somebody.
It is.
And it's just what you do.
What's cool about it is when you do, you always learn something new, even when you're teaching someone
Yes,
else.
absolutely.
You know, or helping someone else. You learn. It's very fulfilling.
Yeah.
So it's a really a cool thing.
And it does give you a chance to step outside of your own skill set and your own
Yeah.
tendencies and kind of realize, like, wow, there's something of mine that I could.
So, right.
Tara just said she remembered when Nia Peoples interviewed her in 1991
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and remembered a specific question. I had to listen to that stuff today to prepare for the show. You know, and your answer was great. You said Oakland is funky, among other things.
We like to have a good time.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
how do
what
you
I
know
said.
that? How do you know that? That's great.
I'm from Vallejo. You left Vallejo. I was like, man, she didn't say anything about Vallejo.
She didn't talk about the V.
I know.
No, but that's impressive. I mean, obviously, you've got a powerful intellect if you can recall that kind of stuff. And watching you physically talk about what you're doing and what you've done on stage and with Rosie, you're animated. And I wish we could capture that with video because it's really neat. It's really neat
thank
to watch
you.
you switch on like that because it's
Yeah.
very entertaining.
Well, thank you. I'm very passionate about it, and
Your career blossomed in the beginnings of the video. Not really the beginnings, but sort
heart
of
of it.
in the heart of the video age where
I have been tremendously blessed to be at the right place at the right time in just a lot of circumstances in my life.
Yeah.
Really, really blessed. So that, like I said, getting that gig with Rosie was huge. At the time, she was managed by Don Cornelius.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay.
You could bet your last
I
money.
mean, come on. Don Cornelius. So the first time I met Dwayne was when we were doing a showcase.
Here comes
Is
Dwayne.
he out there?
He's
There
right
he
there,
is.
there talking. Yeah.
There he is. Come here. So the first time I met Dwayne, we were
Let me grab a
doing a
cable.
showcase. Don Cornelius was there, and we were at the Dock of the Bay. Y'all, who remembers the Dock of the Bay?
Man, I don't remember the Dock of the Bay.
You
I'm
don't
too
remember
young.
the Dock of the Bay, see?
Where was it?
It was over on the on the marina,
Oh,
on
okay.
the water.
Uh huh.
Otis Redding was sitting on it. Don't you remember that? shit?
Yeah. Dock of the Bay.
Uh huh.
That's the place. And so that's when I met Dwayne, and that was like I'm going to say 89,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yes.
88, 89 in there somewhere, probably.
That would have been a great time to meet Dwayne
Yeah.
because 88, 89, that was right around
87.
the
Cracking
revival.
it. Yeah.
I mean, it was right at the time when they were really starting to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
absolutely.
when we met. They were just, I think, Hey Little Walter was out, so I don't remember what year was that.
Oh, man. I can't
That was
remember
89.
Was it 89?
Mm-hmm.
So
So
it was
were
right
you,
around that time was when we met.
Yeah. Did you meet through Rosie?
Yeah, they were there to see Rosie.
Sure.
And
Because Rosie at the time was the Bay Area's best kept secret. Actually, 88, she had already played with Prince. Then.
no.
No, really?
No.
Well, maybe, you know what? It might have been earlier than that. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it had to have
'Cause
been earlier than that.
I'm
You're
trying
right.
to think of when I started working with her. Here he is.
He is.
There's
He's on the
Dwayne.
He might be shy. We're going to prepare for him if he
Yeah,
wants
I
to
got a
come
mic
over
for
and
him.
join in. But
But it was very cool. I got to meet, working with Rosie Gaines.
That opens every door
It
musically.
changed everything. You know, when Pete opened his club, the Escovedo's
Oh man.
Club.
Yeah, Mr. Ease.
Yeah, and Sheila would come in and sit in with us
Uh-huh.
and play traps with us. To grow up in this environment was a tremendous.
It was the
blessing.
right place
It
for you.
changed everything. So that's when people,
Here, you want to sit down, Dwayne?
hey, you got to try
Yeah,
it.
get some beef Kelligman, and
You gotta try the beef
We got a little bit of wine for you. I got a cup. Do you need a set of cans, or are you good? I'll get you the one.
I'm good.
We were just talking about when we met at the dock of the bay.
Do you want?
Yeah, and you was behind Rosie Gaines.
Nice place to be when we got wine pouring noises.
Yay.
Yeah.
Hey, I like that. I like that noise. We heard that a lot last night.
We like it.
Somebody was real noisy last night.
All right. That's a sound bite we're going to cherish right there. Anytime something comes up, I'm going to use that. I'm going to drop
track the
Dwayne
show.
in. I'm going to have that programmed as a key on my keyboard. Somebody was real noisy last
Try
night.
some of this beef Kelligman too. It's good. John made it
Yeah,
special.
you got to try the beef.
I made it for
Right.
Tara because she's a fan. Anyway,
And she's been bragging about it too.
man.
Yeah.
So
Dock of the Bay.
our listeners outside of the Bay Area, though, we've been talking about Rosie Gaines, and our listeners outside of the Bay Area may not know that Rosie Gaines in and around San Francisco is musical royalty. So for
She
you to
is.
have grabbed that gig right out of the gate to be singing with Rosie Gaines really is an indicator of where you were musically. And it's easy to get lost in the fact that Tara was smoking hot. Tara is smoking hot. Let's get that out of the way.
Right now.
Yes, indeed.
Ooh.
So, but I
I
mean,
love the sound effects.
one of the things that we were dealing with,
Even
watching,
Dwayne's phone thinks that Tara is smoking hot.
that's funny. Dwayne's phone punctuated therapy. So look, I'm all flustered now, and
We're all
can't-
blushing
and I can't
now.
think. Yeah, but
Eat that. Eat it.
I don't know if you had. I mean, this is a strange question, but were your looks a disadvantage? Because you certainly had the skills and the pipes and the chops to do everything that was required of you musically, but
No, I think my looks were a huge advantage. The reason I got that gig is because they wanted a white girl singing backup for her.
yeah,
With really big hair.
So my hair was big.
Yeah, no
too.
shit.
Really big.
It was awesome.
Yeah, the 80s were going down.
Yeah.
It was
Man.
real big back then, remember?
Yeah.
So one of the
But yeah, so my looks definitely helped me get that gig.
You know what?
For sure.
I never knew that. I thought it was just because you got it in.
They wanted a white girl.
Yeah.
They wanted a
Specifically.
racially integrated band.
They did.
With soul.
Yeah.
With soul.
Well, that was an absolute requirement. But then, by the way, let's get a racially integrated band because that's what we do here in the Bay Area.
That's a Bay Area model.
It is a Bay
is.
Area model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Thank
want to
you.
represent
Thank
everybody.
you, Sly.
Yeah, thank you, Sly.
Yes,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a reality.
It is a reality.
It is.
So yeah, they were, the best musicians in town. They were Bay Area royalty, that band, for sure.
So much so that here you are, you meet Dwayne because Tony came to see you guys.
Right.
That was before we were Tony's.
Really?
Oh, see? So
when
it
was it? See,
It
I'm trying
was
to find out
before.
I was wondering what year it was that was.
That had to be like 85, 86.
85, 86. Okay, yeah. See, we've known each other for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
That's a
Wow.
long time.
We were talking about Tara's appearance on the Party Machine with Nia Peoples on MTV. And I don't know if you know this, but you were on there, and maybe you didn't even know that. The video following your first song was you guys.
Yeah, they had me introduce you guys.
They had
Oh, that's
Feels
right,
Good, and
yes.
I don't know if that's
How do
where
you know that? That was 20 years ago. Good job. Man. Yeah, you did. You introduced
I have a
them.
mind like a steel trap.
She was
apparently,
there.
Apparently. I better never say anything mean to you because you'll never forget that, Graf.
I won't.
So that was 85, 86. You guys were just,
When we met.
yeah.
But when you introduced
Kids.
us, that was like 88. 89,
That was
probably.
91.
91. Oh,
Yeah, when I went that Nia Peoples Party Machine
Man,
was
Nia
91.
Peoples, man, there's so many people we remember coming up,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
you know?
You were talking about KMEL too, and then John and I went a little further back when Camel was the rock station. You know?
Oh yeah, and it's different now too.
It is, yeah, totally
it's different than it was then.
Yeah.
Oh, and then one of our friends on Facebook posted a picture of Renelle, like her publicity photo.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
really?
From back then.
Yeah, it was.
But I
great.
mean, that
Wow.
even predates Renelle. When you were on Cameo,
That's
it was
true.
like Rick Chase.
Rick Chase was in the morning.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
I remember because he used to call my dad at his off. Oh my God, it was so embarrassing. You know, when I first came out, they were they were the ones that discovered me, and
Yeah, they broke you, right?
they broke me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was it over there? Do you remember? Was there a specific DJ who
Hosh
did it?
Corelli.
Wow.
Hosh did?
Hosh did.
That's
Well,
before
no,
you-
it was Alex Mejia.
Alex Mejia. Man, I haven't heard that name in 20 years.
So he got the song through a DJ pool,
Uh-huh.
and he brought it to Hosh.
Okay.
And Hosh played it on the air, did the whole pick-to-click thing.
Yeah.
And it got a really positive response. And so he just started calling all the A&R people that he knew. And so he got me signed, actually.
Wow.
Hosh got me signed.
And what label was that?
I was signed to Big Beat Records in New York.
Wow.
among your many labels that you've been signed to.
Right, right.
I'd like to sign you as well. I don't have a label, but I'll start it. You'll be my my premier artist.
Okay.
Right there.
I thought it was Giant Records.
Giant came later.
That came later.
That was like the 5th label.
Well, they were the second label. So it started with Big Beat.
Okay.
Isn't that off the chain?
Hell yeah.
Beef Kelligman is the shit, man.
Hey, my fellow Chamorros, I got Dwayne over here messing some Kelligman up.
Yeah,
So,
Wait, I gotta tell Dwayne, she's had Fruitback Kelligman.
yeah.
yeah, you don't want any of
Yeah.
that. You don't want any of
Fruit
that.
You don't.
That's
You
hard.
really don't want that.
That is hard, though.
It's
that's
kinda hard.
Man, that's harder than me.
It's fruit?
No,
Fruit's bat.
It's
No,
a
it's
bat.
They call it a fruit bat because that's what the bat eats.
Oh, it's okay.
You don't know. You
No,
want
you
it.
don't. There,
want
there's
it.
all kinds
I
of
can't
crazy
believe
food
you
they
did
got.
that.
Yeah, you're badass.
I want
You
to
are
try
a badass.
things. I didn't do the blood soup though. I'm sorry. The blood soup
Yeah, no,
stuff.
you don't
was-
want that
that's-
either.
Sorry, can't do that one.
Okay.
Couldn't get with it.
So, getting back to the topic
We
at
always
hand.
it always comes back to food.
It does
doesn't
come
it?
back to food.
It's one of the awful times.
So what? That's right. That's right. Food and music. It's what sustains us.
Right.
Food and music.
So where were we? We were at you and Dwayne met.
So we
KMEL broke you.
and then KMEL broke me.
Signed to Big Beat. Who else was on Big Beat? I'm not familiar with that label.
Do you remember Jamonda? Hey, Mr. DJ.
Yeah.
Playing my song.
All night.
That was their big artist. Was
Okay.
Jamonda.
Wow.
And then what happened?
So then one of my producers got a job with Ralph Taston.
Okay.
He's a big radio promoter. And Big Beat wasn't putting the record out because they were working, it was a small independent label, and they were working on their Jamonda thing when we couldn't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you putting it out? Why aren't you putting it out? And KMEL wouldn't play it because we didn't have any product out. So they leaked it to KSOL. The KSOL, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Right?
KSOL.
That was
KSOL. 107.7.
And they were more than happy to play it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that, of course, forced KMEL to play it. And then we got written up in Hitmakers. So before Big Beat could even release the song, all the major labels were coming to play.
Well, that's the thing about KSOL. They were smaller than KMEL. KMEL was the big dog, but KSOL they were down in San Mateo, a little bit away from San Francisco. They didn't have quite the reach that KMEL had, and they were KSOL. They were more soulful. They were really concentrated
Yes,
on.
they were more of an urban radio
Yeah.
than KMEL was at the time.
Right.
Because KMEL was still very much pop crossover kind of stuff.
Pop crossover.
And
That's what I'm looking for.
was the urban station.
And so that's the thing that's
and
remarkable.
the thing that people don't really understand about my record is that urban radio really were primarily responsible for that song being a hit.
Yeah.
Urban radio grabbed a hold of that song and played the hell out of it.
Okay.
So I owe a lot of my success to urban radio.
Well, that was a good decision.
And for urban radio to grasp that, I mean, they're not going to grab hold of. Urban radio is famous for being very particular about a singer. If you can't really, really sing, you're not going to make it on urban radio. No matter how good the song is, you have to really, really sing.
But nobody at that time, nobody knew anything about what I looked like.
Okay.
It was just the music was out. Nobody knew anything about who I was, what I looked like, where I came from, anything.
Okay.
It was just the song. you know.
So you never had that as a kind of a hitching point where somebody was like, "Oh, I didn't realize."
It was a hit record. It
you
was a
wanted
hit
to
record
sing."
before it came out, and that's why I got signed. That's why there was the bidding war and all that stuff because it leaked out and people liked it. People took to it.
Okay.
And
it charted and it was a bona fide hit.
Yes. So there was a major bidding war. So here's what you don't know. So Big Beat Records was owned by Craig Kalman. Okay. Do you know who Craig Kalman is?
No.
Okay. Craig Kalman is the president of Atlantic Records now.
Oh, okay.
The CEO of
Wow.
Atlantic Records.
And he owned Big Beat at the time.
Yes. So when we went into the bidding war, we ended up, he was working a deal with Atlantic Records, and he wanted to bring the record to Atlantic Records.
Okay.
And I had two.
He wanted to bring it to Atlantic.
He wanted to sign me up to
Now, we're
Atlantic.
being record label nerds right now, but for our listeners, Atlantic Records was a place for female soul singers. They had Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
That was Ahmet Ertegun, and he was very particular about female soul singers. So he wanted to bring you to Atlantic.
Yeah, he wanted to bring me, and he was trying to get his label signed up to Atlantic. So
Right.
he'd been working that for a while, and so that was where he wanted to go with it.
So he had to bring a bona fide flagship artist with him.
Right.
To take to Atlantic. That's like bringing somebody to the New York Yankees. Love or hate the Yankees, they're still the
So
Yankees.
what happened was that one of the other producers that I was working with, his uncle was Howard Weitzman.
Okay.
Howard Weitzman, if you guys know anything about attorneys, was DeLorean's attorney. He was also
He could get a dude out of an airport with a suitcase full of cocaine.
I don't have no
Don't
cocaine.
worry. We'll get you out of here.
I've got a really good lawyer.
he was O.J. Simpson's first attorney as well. He's a criminal attorney, okay? But he was best buds with Irving Azoff.
Uh-huh.
So he found out about
hitters right there.
everybody
Yeah, no
wants
kidding.
this record, everybody wants this record, and I mean everybody wanted that record.
And that's how you ended up on Giant.
And I ended up on Giant because Jake Smith's uncle called him up and said, "Hey, I'll represent you guys. You're playing with the big fish." And he moved us right into the deal with Irving. He really manipulated our situation into that with Irving. And Giant Records, they were looking for a hit. I think they had 20 artists on their roster, and they hadn't had a hit yet. So they needed a
Wow.
hit record.
And so when you joined Giant Records, who was there?
It was all rock bands.
Yeah.
There weren't any known, like, big artists there yet. And then shortly after that, they signed, Color Me Bad. And they did a soundtrack. Was it Minister Society?
No, it was.
What was the soundtrack they did?
Oh, it was the one. Come on, about the whole apartment unit gangsters. What was
New Jack City.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
there you
New
go.
Jack
Yeah.
City.
Yeah.
It was New Jack City, exactly. So it was like
Jack
all
City.
this
That
New
was-
Jack
that broke
swing
a
stuff.
lot of artists.
A lot of artists.
That was
yeah.
when they started making movies to almost break artists. Like they would make the soundtracks, you know.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes songs that were on the soundtrack were not in the movie.
Right, yeah, like The Crow and all those albums where the soundtrack was it drove the music more than the movie, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so
But I wasn't on the soundtrack.
right, you were on the 90210 soundtrack.
I was on the 90. There's a whole story behind that one, too.
We'll do that one next.
He'd do some homework for you.
Man, I study up. I don't
He
mess
would
around.
do some homework
Do you
for
like
you.
that song?
You know, I like every song. I got a place in my heart for
You
any
wanna
song.
know? 2-1-1?
I was on 90210. Yeah, that's one of my gold records is from that being on that soundtrack. I was on that soundtrack because Chaka Khan was on that soundtrack, and I was like, I'm gonna be on a record with Chaka Khan.
Huh.
I will do that song.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
sing the hell out of that song.
Yeah. Oh.
But the song was written by one of the producers, I believe, or directors of that show, of the television show.
No kidding.
Yeah. So nobody in my camp had anything to do with writing that song or
How was the song?
curating that song. Do you?
I mean, obviously it fit you, but I'm not familiar with the song.
well, it wasn't a hit. It didn't chart or do anything. It was in the. It was in
in
on
the
the
90210.
on the album, and it was on the show.
Right. But you didn't make a video for that song.
No, it was never released as a single.
Okay.
But they had a
Because
lot
I
of-
would have seen it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And if you guys
It
haven't
was all
already
right. It
done
was all right song.
go look up all Tara Kemp's videos on YouTube.
Tara Kemp, in the early 90s, Tara Kemp had a couple of things. She had like a sport coat
Uh-huh.
and a bra,
Yep.
but she did not own a shirt.
Right.
There was
No.
no shirt happening.
Oh, no. Who needed that?
Who needed that? She was on the label with Gerardo.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah, we
I'm
don't
not going to
wear-
wear
yeah,
a shirt
dude.
either.
I'm not wearing a shirt. You're not wearing a shirt. It's all good.
There wasn't a lot of shirts going on back then.
No, it was the 90s.
Shirts were going out of style.
Yeah, shirts were out.
Dwayne was always wearing shirts, though. Those guys, you guys
Silky.
had,
A
man.
lot of colorful shirts.
You guys
Yeah.
had, right.
A lot of colorful shirts.
Did you never wear the overalls with the one strap on and the other strap off
I
with no
wore
shirt?
overalls, yeah. I remember I had one strap on.
There might
Yeah.
be some in
Mine
that
was
wardrobe
furry,
right
I
over
had
there.
Furry,
You had
You were
furry.
always
You had furry overalls.
furry purple.
Dude, there's fur over there. There's just fur peeking out.
Yeah, we're looking at the wardrobe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might get me some furry overalls.
You should get some, man.
I'm telling you.
You should get
Yeah.
some.
They always have fly style. I actually sought out their stylist for a Piece of My Heart video.
I had
I loved
to.
your style so much.
Was
We ended up using the same style.
yeah. So did you have that stylist guide you through those? Like, the last couple days I've spent watching It Never Rains in Southern California a few times because that video was terrific.
Mhm.
And, you know, nowadays, sure, we can look back at the wardrobe and go, wow, remember when we used to wear those?
Yeah.
But the video was terrific. I mean,
Lisa
it was,
Bonet directed that one.
that was directed by
What?
Lisa Bonet.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it really did tell
Wow.
a story. It used to be that videos would tell a story with the song, and then it got into videos just being a stylized way for you to perform the song.
Mhm.
But that came back to, you know, really telling the story. Like there was a subtext in that video that was terrific. I went back and looked at it, listened to it, because you brought up Claire Fisher the last time we were
Yeah.
here. So I had to go, you know, bone up. But that, you guys shared a stylist at the time. It was the same stylist?
Yes, and you know
We
she
did.
came from working with Prince and Sheila E.
She's amazing.
And that's who her name is Kelly Kutzagaris.
Okay.
She was really the one that gave the Tonys the whole style. You know, we always were known for wearing something crazy, but she just kind of like
She kind of polished you guys.
polished it 100% of a lot of our stuff was made. So I
It's
can
a whole
understand why
different thing when you can have style and stuff, but when working with a stylist is a whole different,
Yeah.
brings everything to a different level,
Yeah.
you know?
But another thing, when you were talking about those labels and some of the people you followed behind, and why, like you was talking about Chaka Khan, the reason you wanted to be on that soundtrack. But I honestly, when you was talking about what was that, Urban Azoff, when
Yeah.
they signed you up, they were. I think what they liked about her is that she could perform. She's a performer.
Yeah.
She could move the product.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And back then, no matter who you were, you had to be able to perform.
You had to get out there and hustle
You
it.
had, and coming from the Bay, you were groomed. You were one.
I don't know if they really knew
They
that,
didn't
because
know.
I remember Irving like really pushing me to perform for him, and like they wanted me to dance. I'm not a dancer.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a musician.
Yeah.
I'm a theater brat musician. I'm not really like
Well, I
throwing
mean, I
down the
didn't say
dance
that. I
moves, and
didn't
it was
say that.
they wanted me to perform. I was like,
No, not dance wise, but I'm just saying vocally, the way you put, even your show. I remember your show on that MTV tour. I was like, damn, you got a show like somebody would get down in the Bay Area, but it was like mainstream the way it was set with your dancers and everything.
right.
Like a lot of the groups out here, like even Rosie Gaines, she didn't have dancers. It was all about just blowing in the background singing.
Right.
But you took the other element and put it there. You took a little bit of that San Francisco
Yeah.
vibe on it and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, that's me being outside looking.
Was that the stylist or the label that influenced that?
No, that was all me. The
Okay.
whole band thing, I didn't get any tour support for that tour.
Mhm.
So I put my own money in.
Wow.
Cost me about $60,000 to take that band on the
She
road.
had a bus. She had
Man.
her own.
I had my own
You are
bus.
Get
not
down.
afraid. You are not afraid.
No,
No, that's
because
that-
you know
that
what?
Bay
I didn't.
Area
I'm an
Yeah.
adventurer.
mentality
You
there,
know, that's
yeah.
why from me going and living in Guam.
Yeah.
Who would do that?
Right.
That takes an adventure.
People can't point to Guam on a map. They might point
At
to
a lot of
Italy.
drinking
You know.
bars.
At a bar, me drinky bar.
No,
We didn't talk
drinky.
about that yet, but we will get in there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
We already need a part
I
two
like
on this
adventures
show.
in paradise.
I guess.
I'm into it.
Yeah. All right.
Talking about.
You did say on the
Man.
Nia People show. You did say that in the Bay we like to party. You did
We
say
do
that.
like to
Yeah.
party, and we like a good adventure. Or I like a good adventure anyway. You know.
We all
Yeah.
love a good adventure.
If you like the show,
And you know you do.
send us some pictures and videos.
Don't do that. Support the show.
There are 3 ways you can support us.
Number 1, go to iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to podcasts.
And leave a 5-star rating and review.
It helps with the show metrics and it helps us get better placement. Number 2,
Visit our website.
www.breakitdownshow.com.
We've got an Amazon and an eBay link.
Same Amazon, same eBay, you know and love, but they give us a little kickback when you get to their site from ours. And number 3, leave comments about the shows that you like. We want to know what you think, how you feel.
Tell us how to make the show better. We greatly appreciate it.
And we like a good adventure, or I like a good adventure anyway.